Oh yes, my Straight Talk family, I know you've heard that theme song, and once you did, once you've heard the song, then you know it signals the time for me to say greetings to the entire world, because we are on the World Wide Web, and we reach and touch you, we communicate with you all over the globe. So let me say greetings. And we are coming to you from the beautiful federation of two islands and one lovely paradise called St. Kitts and Nevis. So I am duty bound to say good night to St. Kitts and good night to Nevis. And by extension, I am saying, and I will say, good night to the entire Caribbean region. Way down south on the mainland, South American mainland of Guyana, we come up to Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, St. Lucia, Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and our friends in Dominica. We reach and touch you in Guadeloupe, et Martinique, bonsoir, toutefois, and to Antigua and Barbuda, just next door, Montserrat. I'm not hearing from Montserrat, trust that all is well. We're going west to St. Eustatius, Saba, and St. Bartholomew, St. Bart's as we call it, St. Martin and Grilla, the USVI and the BVI, Totola and the Gada, Virgin Gorda, and of course St. John, St. Thomas, and let's touch Puerto Rico también. And those in the Kittitian and Nevisian and Caribbean diaspora all over the globe. You are in Africa. There's some of you in Asia. There's some of you in Europe. And there are a whole lot of you all over North America. So I am at liberty to say good night. I will say good morning. And I will also say good afternoon, because one of such greetings will be applicable to the region in which you now find yourselves. And if you are a first-timer, we do get first-timers, and I thank all those who continue to share the link. As a result, we get first-timers, and for you, the first-timers, we trust and hope it would not be your last time. But just to inform you that Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free, underlines free expression on all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk, you do have a forum to express yourselves freely. On this program, we try as well to raise the level of national consciousness. We try to raise the level of national discourse by alerting our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Liburd, and I give Almighty God thanks for blessing me with yet another opportunity to join you in conversation on yet another occasion. And my Straight Dog family, I'll continue to pledge to remain an untiring advocate of truthfulness, as I always am reminded at all times by the words of a favorite hymn of mine. An excerpt goes something like this: we are all called, or we are called to be God's prophets, speaking for the truth and right, standing firm for godly justice, bringing evil things to light. So let's seek the courage needed, our high calling to fulfill, that we all may know the blessing of the doing of God's will. So my Straight Talk family, I can assure you, especially the first timers, that absolutely nothing is watered down on this program. We don't care or try to make it interesting, not by omission, neither by exaggeration. Straight Talk, your program, is not about sensationalism or creating excitement, especially at the expense of accuracy, because we will hasten to tell you, to let you know, that we lean on the facts, as it's my bounden duty to present what I call the unvarnished truth, the plain truth, nothing but the truth, especially when it comes to governance, transparency, integrity in St. Kitts, Nevis, and all across the globe. Because we are joined together with people across the Federation. Through this program, we are joined with people in the diaspora all around the world. And my Straight Talk family, some will agree with the positions we advance on this program. I call them the positions of truth advance on Straight Talk. And some will disagree. And that's fine, because as I always say, we promote a diversity of views. No matter what they say and try to come to distract us, you don't be distracted. And please don't sadden me as well. Because if we start to become disagreeable, we are going to have problems. Let us disagree, but never become disagreeable. So let's thank Almighty God, nonetheless, for helping us to understand, oh, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. Let us therefore hope and pray for that day when we will all sing his praise together. And I must also remind you, the first timers, or to inform you, I should say the first timers in particular, that Straight Talk is a participative program. In other words, we include your calls and we do include your emails. And if you're so minded, calling, the numbers are on your screens. They're right there on your screens, right to the bottom of the screen. You'll see the local number and the overseas number. You also see an email address. That's one word, Straight Talk or Straight Talk Patches at gmail.com. That's for those who like what I call the cloak of anonymity. They don't want to be heard. They want to hide behind the keyboard. Just be respectful when you do that, nonetheless. And we give you access via our email platform, and the address is also noted on your monitors, on your screens. Some of you have the Alexa app, and we provide you access via Alexa. We are heard live via Alexa. All you have to do is say, Alexa, play Massive Vibes Radio. We thank the big man for providing us access at a nominal cost as well. And as we say cost, there are some of you who have made donations. Some have not. We're not mad with you for that. But we encourage you to support our efforts through your donations here on Straight Talk. For those who have done so, I say a big thank you to all. I must also reassure you that no matter how small your contribution is, it will help to continue these important discussions. It helps to defray our costs, to maintain our commitment to public service. That's what it is, public service, my Straight Talk family. 2 words, public service. So others who wish to donate can simply scan the code on your screen to access the payment form. It's a very simple process, I can assure you. Won't take you 2 minutes. So thank you again for your support and for helping us to keep the dialogue alive. And I would always say a special Welcome to my junior brigade, Neema and Soraya. Neema, my grandson, is good friend Soraya. They're always logged on and making certain that I recognize them. So too, Dwayne, Tristan, Shamar, Kevin. I saw Shamar today, was it? Yes. Shamar, I haven't seen him in a long time. Trust your school is going well. Just so the others. Kevin at the Charlestown Secondary School. Rue Costa over there in South Carolina. I trust you are still on the honors list. Jamal in Anguilla, Travis and Travon as well. And we hail at all times the special lady in St. Louis, who is a queen in Texas as well. On a sad note, we learn of the passing of Mr. Tyrrell, Rupert, I think it's Rupert Tyrrell. We worked together at S.L. Hosford and Company for some time. He worked at the hardware then, and I think he eventually became the manager at the SLH Hardware. Learned that he's gone to the great beyond. We extend condolences to his siblings, to his entire family. Also learned of the passing, I'm trying to remember the name, Dotlin, your brother. Dotlin, your brother. And I'll get that name before we close, but again, all those who have lost loved ones, we extend our condolences to them. I know that I always remind you that Jimmy Cliff was the one who sang, "Who feels it knows it." So no matter what we may say to you as well, we don't know what you feel. And how could I forget today? Today was Brenda's funeral. That slipped me today. Brenda Manners as well. Jam Down. And Lady Manners. All the Mannerses. Trust that you'll get comfort. I believe in that God is in the midst of everything. So to all who have lost loved ones, we extend condolences, like I said, as we move into our observations in review. And I wanted to spend more time on my thesis tonight, my Straight Dog Family, which I've titled, "Will There Ever Be Unity? Who, How, and When?" I'm still following the story nonetheless as it relates to the desalination plant that's being constructed down there on the Paul Southwell industrial site. We wonder why the hell that plant was not located just off Bird Rock Hotel there where the dolphins were, or even around there on Potato Bay. But there was no consultation. As I said, the slow student never even consulted for 1 minute with the people in Bird Rock in particular. I heard after my comment he was walking around in Bird Rock. But 1 minute consultation, we don't mean coming one-on-one, slow student. I mean convening a meeting, a public meeting, so we can ask you questions. We can allay our concerns about the quality of the water there, and that will be coming from that desalination plant. But we'll address that further at some other subsequent time. We're following as well the none or lack of information as it relates to the death of that doctor, DPP Adlai Smith, has not said anything to the country about what seemed to be an elusive autopsy report. Why would it take 2 months to get an autopsy report? Is the question. We learned of a minister in Barbados as well who was under questioning with the police. We are following that story. We are also following the story of a former Assistant Commissioner of Police who we understand is wanted or has been arrested. That too we are following, but we'll give you more information as time progresses. Straight Talk like to ensure that we have full information that we can stand by all the time. But my Straight Talk family, those are my observations that I just glossed over tonight. Like I said, I wanted to spend a little more time on, and forgive me for that, on my thesis, which I have titled tonight, Will There Ever Be Unity? Who, How, and When? And we're going to take a historical dive, I should say, into the political dynamics, I call it, in small nations like St. Kitts and Nevis, which can be complex, especially with various factions within parties and among political leaders. Tonight's Straight Talk will try, therefore, to uncover the political and historical background to find the truth behind the formation and collapse of Team Unity. And in the process, we must inform you that the first coalition government in St. Kitts and Nevis was formed in 1980, marking a significant milestone in this country's political history. Prior to this, the political landscape had been dominated by single-party rule. However, the 1980 coalition brought together two political factions from across the Narrows: the People's Action Movement from St. Kitts and the Nevis Reformation Party from over there in Nevis. And that signaled, my Straight Talk family, a shift toward collaboration and compromise in government, I call it. Now, without attempting to insult your knowledge, coalition governments all over the world were formed by multiple political parties, usually during times or in response to national crises or after a conflict, in order to promote stability and unity. We can think of South Africa in 1994, when it transitioned from apartheid to democracy. The African National Congress, the ANC, the National Party, NP, and the Inkatha Freedom Party, IFP, shared power to ensure a smooth transition and to foster reconciliation. Just recently, the ANC went into another coalition because it only got 40% of the vote. Although they do have the presidency and the speakership, they are part of a coalition. My memory serves me well. We can think of Zimbabwe in 2009, following a disputed election and economic collapse. Zimbabwe formed a government of national unity between the Zimbabwe African National Union, Patriotic Front, the ZANU-PF, and the Movement for Democratic Change, the MDC. Here in what was St. Kitts, Nevis, and Anguilla, though, following the granting of associated status from Britain in 1967, and the subsequent rebellion from Anguilla that same year, and eventual secession from St. Kitts, Nevis continued to demand secession as well, a call which was heightened after the sinking of the MV Christina in 1970, and over 200 souls were lost between the Narrows. But Nevis felt neglected by Bradshaw, by Straight Dog family, and this was made known by then leader of the NRP, leader and founder of the NRP, I should say, Simeon Daniel, the late Simeon Daniel, who said this, my Straight Dog family.
Roads were non-existent. The paved roads that we had, we understand that half the money went to lengthen St. Kitts Airport and the other half came to Nevis, to fix Nevis Road.
On August 18, 1977, divisions in continuance of their strong opposition to what some call the vicious rule of Bradshaw and his Labour Party in St. Kitts, Simeon Daniel orchestrated a straw poll on the issue of independence for Nevis. A referendum was organized by the NRP, which he led, and of the 4,220 persons who voted, 41 of 4,193 persons, or 99.4%, voted yes in favor of independence for Nevis. 14 persons voted no, and 13 persons spoiled their ballots. So in 1980, when Simeon Daniel and his NRP joined in a coalition government with the People's Action Movement, it was a matter of political convenience with one purpose: to remove the Labour Party from government. Lo and behold, my Straight Dog family, 3 years thereafter, Simmons and Pam, in an act of what many call political expediency, moved the two islands into full political independence in 1983. Sim Daniel insisted on a special clause in our Constitution, Section 113, that grants Nevis in perpetuity, forever, the right to secede from St. Kitts and establish itself as a separate and independent state at the time of its choosing. Just 7 years after independence, take note, and Sim Daniel became Premier of Nevis, having ensured autonomy as well, and his own government. The pattern of abuses continued under Simmons, causing Sim Daniel to announce his intent that Nevis would secede from the Federation by the end of 1992. Yes, there were issues. I know many recall, I guess because it's more recent, when Douglas and the father of the Soko engineer Conris Maynard, the mighty contender, Lincoln Maynard is his right name. We remember when he bounced the NIA check in 2014, that which Vance Amy called financial terrorism. Remember, Vance Amy said this:
my fellow citizens, is not a pleasant situation. It has caused me much pain and much sadness. It is not easy, and it must be obvious that this has caused much distress to teachers, civil servants generally, and to all the hard-working people who depend on the payment from government. Someone said to me it is tantamount to financial terrorism. This clearly has been, in my opinion, an unwarranted position.
And my Straight Talk family, you may not believe, but the late Sim Daniel complained that he fought Bradshaw and he had to fight Pam, whom he helped to put in government. Yes, Sim Daniel said this, my Straight Talk family.
We have come a long way. We have come a long, long way. And even though we were in there with Pam and a coalition government and we were supposed to be working together, I cannot forget that there were days when we were low on funds and the government in Sinkit had 80% owner of the bank. And I was the one who passed the resolution in the House of Assembly for the government to get 80% control of the bank. And when we sent down our checks, they were told, we can't pay civil servants this month. Or we can't pay this week, you must wait till next week. These are coming from our friends. These are coming from our partners. These are coming from people we have to put into government. And this is the way they were treating us.
So the ill-treatment or maltreatment, according to Simeon Daniel, continued even though he helped to put Pam in government. At times, the NIA checks, when the Sim Daniel NIA were low on funds, Pam, according to the late Sim Daniel, never honored their checks. So after that experience with the Pam NRP coalition government, we must ask, then how was Team Unity born? And when I reflect and try to answer that question, how was Team Unity born? I see a young Denzel Douglas, first elected in 1989 and served as the leader of the opposition until he became our second prime minister in 1995. Having led his Labour Party to victory in 2000, 2004 and 2010 respectively, the power of incumbency seemed to have crept into the bones of Denzel Llewellyn Douglas. Obviously, over time he had a greater access to money to fund his campaigns. He controlled the media and had media coverage and political networks which allowed him to run more effective campaigns and to reach more voters. Some claim that money even came from questionable sources. Names like Charles Miller surface. Even his Deputy Prime Minister Sam Condor has not provided any more details since he said this to the country about the Big Dread, my Straight Dog family.
What I could say to Douglas is that I know that the Jambo had given him money, he had loaned him money, and he had invested. And just before Zambo died, there was a meeting between Halva, myself, and Zambo about how he could recover his monies that he invested in the property and his property and so on. And Halva was supposed to organize a meeting with Zambo and Douglas to make those arrangements. I think those meetings were organized, but shortly after that, Zambo died, shot to death.
And my Straight Dog family, The combination of recognition, resources, and influence gave Douglas a significant advantage in elections and contributed to his high re-election rate. Douglas somehow lost his way, however, and under his leadership, the country racked up a public debt that forced him to go hand in cap to the International Monetary Fund, the IMF. Yet he was unapologetic. What he said about the public debt, my straight dog family.
Come talking stupidness about public debt. Public debt me ass.
Douglas exuded such confidence that he even believed that he was 10 men in one, or as you'd put it colloquially, 10 man in one.
Nobody can stop us. They can't hold us back. Douglas is the leader. They can't touch me. Let them know that. They can't stop us. Not one of them can stop us. Me 10 man in one. 10 man in one.
Douglas even threatened my straight dog family to sell one of our citizens. Yes, my straight dog family. Douglas even threatened to sell one of our citizens.
And the same severance pay money that you just spoke about, that you ain't making enough of, is borrowed. The government has to borrow that money. So if you want more, the government either have to sell you or borrow more.
So my straight dog family, I very well believe that Team Unity was born out of Timothy Harris's faith and trust in God. Upon reflection, God must have placed Timothy in the Parliament of St. Kitts and Nevis in 1993 for a divine purpose. Looking back over the years, to many in St. Kitts and Nevis, Timothy is still like a hero with divine powers. There was never too much for him to give to his constituency and the people of this federation that made him what he is today. Timothy Harris's love for his constituency created problems for him from very early in his career, according to Elder Washi, who said this to us, my straight dog family.
Now, when Timothy got into office, years ago, he and Douglas clashed many times. It's a long time now Douglas don't like him. You know why he and Douglas clash? He and Douglas clash because Douglas say he want everything for his constituency. Douglas, but wait. Douglas admitted that Timothy, the representative of the constituency, was trying to do as much as he could for his people. What was wrong with that? Timothy was the minister of housing. He was the minister of land. When Douglas see how the good things that Timothy is doing, he take away the ministry from him. Timothy, just look how David became more popular than Saul. Timothy is more popular. Right now, Timothy is the most popular man in St. Kitts. So the people love Timothy. think Douglas could do anything to drive a wedge between you and Timothy? Never happen. Never happen. And Douglas is so stupid. You got a popular man who you don't like. Instead of trying to get away with him, Douglas turn him away. Douglas turn him away, make him more popular. Because who never used to like him, sorry for him. They could see the injustice. And that is the reason why this mammoth crowd is in Tabernacle tonight cheering on Dr.
And my Straight Talk family, believe it or not, Timothy Harris, according to a recent poll I got my eyes on from a highly respected pollster whose name I cannot mention, Timothy Harris is still the most favorable leader in the country. But that's for another time. Because contrary to what many may say, it was Timothy who saved our country from sliding into an autocratic or dictatorial state. How could any honest person forget his courageous act in Parliament that required putting his own political life in jeopardy? Timothy dared his leader 10 man in one to stand up in the Parliament on behalf of the people, knowing that the political death penalty awaited anyone who dared to challenge Douglas. If I perish, I perish, Timothy declared. I'm sure we remember this.
We're moving now and we're taking that universal right from being tried by a jury of your peers to we go back to the days when the crown decide that is the judge and that is the person who could try you and hang you.
What, excuse me, my Straight Dog family, what mix-up is that? But my Straight Dog family, remember, if I perish, I perish. In his faith and trust in God, no doubt believing that obedience to the will of God mattered more than the preservation of his own political life. A beautiful story to tell about a political leader whose brave actions illustrate a living message for proponents of democracy today. So my conscience would never allow me to stay silent in the midst of this heightened political hypocrisy. Mark Brantley, for example, conveniently forgot that he was the one who tabled a motion of no confidence in the Douglas Labour administration, which the Speaker refused to table in the Parliament for nigh 2 years and more. According to a former acting Chief Justice, Brian Allen, the Speaker allowed the Parliament to be turned into what he called a useless instrument, my Straight Dog family. That is what the former Chief Justice had to say about the wimpy Speaker, Curtis Martin.
It's setting a very bad precedent for governance, and it's really making Parliament a useless instrument. I think that's terrible.
Terrible, my Straight Dog family. If you remember the days of that wimpy Speaker, Curtis Martin, he's in all his glory now, only in St. Christopher. But how can Mark, Sean, and others forget that gloomy Friday afternoon in our history when everyone was bustling, hustling around Bastille? Some were shopping, some were having fun. And Douglas sneaked into the Parliament to change the electoral boundaries. What a shame and scandal according to one member.
Shame and scandal.
Where's the officer? Officer, can you get this man out of the precincts of Parliament, please? I don't want him nowhere near me. Thank you.
That's what obtained, my Stray Dog family, under the wimpy Speaker Curtis Martin. But this did not stop Douglas from dissolving the said Parliament in preparation for the 2015 general elections. My Stray Dog family, it did not stop Douglas.
Fellow citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis, earlier today, the Parliament of St. Kitts and Nevis, the National Assembly, met in emergency session to debate the draft proclamation that was laid before it pursuant to the provisions of subsection 3 or subsection 5 of section 50 of the Constitution of St. Kitts and Nevis. That draft proclamation was approved by a resolution of the National Assembly today, Friday, the 16th day of January 2015. Subsequently, the draft proclamation with accompanying resolution was submitted to His Excellency the Governor General, and a proclamation in terms of the unamended draft was eventually gazetted today, the 16th day of January 2015. As a result of all that, I hereby now announce that I have advised His Excellency, the Governor General, to dissolve the Parliament, the National Assembly of St. Kitts and Nevis, effective today, the 16th day of January, to give effect to the proclamation which has realigned the constituency boundaries of St. Christopher, St. Kitts and Nevis. I further announce that the date of the general elections for the Parliament or National Assembly of St. Kitts and Nevis will be announced later. God bless you. Thank you.
High fives and congratulations to Douglas back then in 2015 January. Well done, they said. How can Mark, Sean and others forget what the law lords at the Privy Council did? Yes, my Stray Dog family, it was the law lords at the Privy Council in London saved the day by that decision which still stands 10 years after that foiled plot of the Labour Party to steal the elections. My Stray Dog family.
After consideration of the appellant's appeal against the order made by the Eastern Caribbean Court of Appeal, sitting as the Court of Appeal for St. Christopher and Nevis on the 5th of February 2015, and having heard submissions on behalf of the parties yesterday on the 11th of February 2015, first, the Board will humbly advise Her Majesty that the appeal should be allowed, that the orders made by Madam Justice Carter on the 27th January 2015 and by the Court of Appeal on the 5th of February 2015 be set aside, and that the interim injunction granted by Madam Justice Carter on the 16th January 2015 be restored. Second, the parties having in their agreement and undertaking recorded in the order made by the Court of Appeal by consent on 5th February 2015, agreed to use for the purposes of the forthcoming election due to take place on Monday the 16th February 2015, whatever list the Privy Council may determine as the appropriate list, it is determined and ordered that, firstly, the list to be used in the said election is and shall be that existing prior to and apart from the proclamation bearing the reference number 2 of 2015, purportedly issued and published by the Governor-General in Extraordinary Gazette number 3 bearing the date 16th January 2015. Second, any effect which the said proclamation would continue otherwise to have, whether in relation to any other election or otherwise, is hereby suspended until further order. All further questions regarding the said proclamation or otherwise, and all questions of costs, be reserved.
And yes, my Straight Dog family, many will say still today, thanks to the Privy Council. Thanks to political strategists like Mia Motley, Lucille Moore, Concy Mitcham, and of course Derek Green, and though not exhaustive, are the ones who went to work with Timothy Harris and Vance Emery, the real spine of Team Unity. Team Unity allowed for a more inclusive approach to decision making, with 3 different parties working together, coming together on one platform to shape the country's policies and development. Mark Brantley, the devout secessionist, insisted that he had to find something to justify his abandonment of his unwavering support for secession. The transactional nature in the snake, Mark Brantley convinced the 3 political leaders to sign what came to be known as the Charlestown Accord. He was charged with responsibility by his leader Vance Emery to draft the document. It was not even really reviewed thoroughly. But years after the implosion of the greatest thing that happened to St. Kitts Nevis since adult suffrage, when we look at the Bible in Genesis, I think it speaks to the 7 years of bounty followed by famine. And that's what we have now. But Mark Brantley, like the true snake in Benjamin Franklin's cartoon, Join or Die, believes that flirting with geothermal and Terence Michael July is the only strategy left for him to ensure his survival and the survival of Nevis. So he peddles his propaganda that the Charlestown Accord was used to catapult Timothy into the Prime Minister's chair with 1 seat. This is the propaganda he peddles, my Straight Dog family.
There was something called the Charlestown Accord that all the political parties involved signed, PAM, PLP, and CCM. What happens is the Charlestown Accord was used to catapult Timothy Harris into Prime Minister's chair with only 1 seat.
You hear that, my Straight Dog family? What distortion? What distortion by the snake Mark Brantley? Because Team Unity could not have won if Timothy Harris was not the leader. How can anyone forget his Esther moment, I call it, my Straight Dog family, his Esther moment in the Parliament? I hope I got it now.
Somebody must be brave enough to speak that basic truth and say, as one brave person said, if I perish in speaking truth to power, I perish. I perish, man. But truth must be spoken. Truth must be spoken. And that is what we are attempting to do, Mr. Speaker. That is what it is, Mr. Speaker.
The Esther moment of Timothy Harris, I call it. And history will record his courageous act in Parliament. that required putting his own political life in jeopardy. Timothy Harris dared his leader 10 man in one to stand up in the parliament on behalf of the people, knowing that the political death penalty awaited anyone who dared to challenge Douglas. And he was fired. Yes, he was fired. But this has to be a beautiful story to tell our children and grandchildren about a political leader who was prepared to sacrifice his political career in the name of freedom and democracy in St. Kitts and Nevis. And it is said all over that Pam could not have been in government without Timothy. Lest we forget, it was the people, my Straight Dog family, it was the people who clamored for a united group. It was the people, not the parties. The people, according to the pollster, Don Anderson, clamored for a united group.
Over the two polls that we did, one of the issues we looked at was how people felt about a group of politicians who might become united. What was clear from the outset was that there was a notion that unity was important to contest an election against the incumbent. But what is important is that regardless of where they come from, whether it's CCM or Labour or New Labour or whatever the key point is, you can call it what you will. What came out was that there was a feeling that a united group would be important. And I make the point united group rather than a unity party would be important to oppose the incumbent.
And lest we forget, my Straight Dog family, that in all the polls conducted, the people across the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, from its very first one, said this, my Straight Dog family.
The person with the highest favorable rating was Dr. Timothy Harris, who had 60.4%, and he was followed by Sam Condor of 58.4%, Sean Richards, 45.9%, Vance Amory, 37.5%, and the incumbent Prime Minister, Denzel Douglas, 30.1%. These were, I repeat, very open-ended questions. We said, please tell us whether you have a favorable or unfavorable view of each of the following. And we rotated the order in which the persons were presented so that there were no procedural biases. And these were the results that we got. So the most favorable politician at that point in time was Tim Harris at 60.4%. And the Prime Minister was at 30.1%.
And that's the story, my Straight Dog family. It even got better in 2019, my Straight Dog family.
One of the things that we looked at is how people felt, how people in St. Kitts and Nevis felt about the way the country was progressing since the unity took office, right? Listen to this. 90% of all persons interviewed, and let's look at how data should be interpreted. If we have 90% of all persons saying that the situation in St. Kitts and Nevis is either better than it was 3 years ago or about the same, this means that that view is spread across all 11 constituencies. Because the 90% is an average, and therefore we expect an average, some to the higher, some to the lower. But at 90%, you can hardly get much higher. And therefore, it says that in all 11 constituencies, the majority of persons were of the opinion that the situation in St. Kitts and Nevis is now either better than it was 3 years ago or about the same. That's a very important finding, because what it says is that even in constituency 6, the large majority of the persons were of the opinion that things were either better than it was 3 years ago or about the same.
Let's speak as well at my Straight Talk family. Yes, I had the privilege of interviewing Don Anderson on Straight Talk. But that was then. But now, 6 years after, the challenge of selling the idea of unity to voters must be a difficult one. The electorate witnessed years of division and rivalry among opposition parties. And many are skeptical these parties could ever truly work together. Although many pundits are saying unity. Some ask, how can we be assured that the same thing won't happen again? So for future coalitions to succeed, political leaders must work to rebuild trust they have lost with voters. This requires clear messaging on the coalition's goals, transparency in decision making, and a commitment to addressing the concerns of the electorate. Only through sustained efforts to show voters that past mistakes will not be repeated can unity-based coalitions hope to succeed in the long term here in St. Kitts and Nevis. When we examine the empirical data, nonetheless, the empirical evidence is very clear that only two parties are trending in the right direction, and they are both Labour parties, my straight talk family. The St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party and the People's Labour Party. You can glean from the data on your screen, my straight talk family, that over the last 5 elections, from 2004 to 2022, my straight talk family, over an 18-year period, look at the trending. From 2020, the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party trended upwards, where on the other hand, the People's Action Movement are trending downwards. PLP, the other Labour Party, like I said, is trending upwards. The CCM and the NRP are both trending downwards. So my Straight Talk family, as I said, Straight Talk can also confirm that we have seen data that suggests that one leader, to wit Timothy Harris, still has the most favorable rating, which is twice that of Terence, Michael, July, and others. Yes, I'm a favorite and famous pollster. A famous pollster, I should say, not favorite, professional. Mark Brantley's is not favorable at all. From the data, one question arises. That is whether the PAM leader, who is not elected, the question arises whether she's even electable. I cannot cite my source, as it is strictly confidential. I wish my Straight Dog family, sometime soon I can put excerpts of it on the screen. I doubt I'll be able to get that authority. But I can only conclude that the leadership of, or we should always conclude from the data, that the leadership of Timothy Harris was pivotal in the early success of Team Unity, particularly his faith-based approach and moral clarity. However, his failure to maintain internal unity within the coalition, once in power, can be seen or is seen as a critical flaw. The lesson here is that strong, transparent, and consistent leadership is key to sustaining any political alliance. Leaders must be able to manage differing views, resolve conflicts, and prioritize the coalition's goals over personal or partisan interests. That has led me to this question, my Straight Talk family, that I trust and hope we can answer after our discussion. Will there ever be unity who, how, and when. That's my story tonight, my Street Dog family, and I am not going to change it. But I'll entertain your calls, I'll open the lines and entertain your calls and your emails. Tonight, my Street Dog family, as usual, and I anticipate that we will respect each other. And of course, to achieve that, we must first respect ourselves. Let us try to be fair to all concerned, and let us in the process try to build friendship, my Street Dog family. Try to, the things we say and or do, the things we say and or do, let us also try to be fair to all concerned. And in the process of doing and or saying those things, let us strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. With that said, my Street Dog family, I go to the lines and say good night to our first caller. Caller, you're live.
Good night, Mr. Liburd.
Good night, my dear.
The quotation, knowledge leads to unity, but ignorance to diversity. I repeat, knowledge leads to unity, but ignorance to diversity. Have a great evening.
Thank you very much. My Street Dog family. Always welcome your quotations. And this one, knowledge leads to unity, but ignorance to diversity. It's 9 or 4 past the 9 o'clock hour. The lines are open, my Street Dog family. And if you've just joined us, the thesis we are discussing tonight, titled, Will There Ever Be Unity? Who, how, and when? My Street Dog family. Let's go back to the lines. At 5 past 9, caller, you're live. Hello, caller. Yes, my lord. You have your equipment on us. Move away or turn it off, can you? Hello? Call you have your equipment on. Could you just turn it off or move away? Can you? Hello?
I don't turn it off.
Thank you very much. I want the whole world to hear you, especially now it sounds like the Bible man. How art thou?
Well, Patrick.
Tell me.
You're the wonderful man. You're here.
Mm-hmm.
You're the wonderful man. Now, Sam, Patrick, I was on my bed tonight to really talk over street talk. And the pattern scripture come to me, Mr. Patrick. In 2 Chronicles chapter 7 and verse 14. Here it says, Mr. Patrick, if my people, which are called by my name,
shall be,
and pray, and seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven, and I will forgive their sins, and I will heal the land. I think this is the word of God. You hear what the word of God says? If my people, I am one of the people, and I am crying out tonight. If we pray, If we humble ourselves, Mr. Patil, God say He's gonna hear. God say He's gonna heal the land. And God say He done forgive our sins. So my God, tonight, I want to tell somebody who are called by God's name are the people of God who are, let us pray. Let us stand up and tell when we see wrong things, talk. God called us to preach the gospel. And I'm saying tonight, it happened in the Bible time with Jehovah. It happened with all the prophets. And they stand up and speak the word. So let us speak the word. God is going to hear. And He said God is going to look after us. When Jezebel was trying to Elijah stand up, and Jezebel wanted to take Elijah's life. Jezebel Elijah run on this and different tree. God sent a river to feed Elijah. So when you stand up and say, God is going to feed you. A man look after you. When you talk what is wrong, they're going to take away everything from you. That is, I ain't going no further than there. See you.
Thank you very much for your intervention, my dear brother. Let's see. Do have someone holding. Let's go. Let me take this overseas line then. My Straight Talk family. Are you there, caller? Hello, caller? Are you there, caller? Hello, caller? Okay, let me see if I can. Okay, I seem to have lost a caller. Let me take this other call. Hello, caller, you're live.
The Major.
Yes, Major. How about thou, Major?
Well, I'm so happy to hear your voice. Well, I was planning for you today because I was listening from what you said. What you said here. I wanted to give you an idea of what I think, eh?
Uh-huh.
You listening to me?
Yes.
As I told you sometime, you ready?
Yes, I'm listening to you, Major.
As I told you some time ago, I maybe 2 times ago, that philosophy is a study of knowledge and thought and meaning. And I consider this thing what you said here as regards to the unity business and so on. I consider it to be a tournament. You know what a tournament? They when that think it's fight against Nevis fight against Antigua and so on. It is a tournament, isn't it? You know, you're laughing, you like to laugh. But this is things I'm talking that I am a man who do me reading and do a lot of things. I get traveled and I got the exposure. So I think I should say, what this thing here, what you're talking about, I consider it to be a tournament.
I got you, my brother.
Because,
Yes, I got you.
And because it is a tournament, you find that life does not give itself to one who tries to keep all the advantages at once. I have often, Joseph Jones, have often thought about morality. May perform and consist solely in the courage of making a choice. You understand that? Or you want me to say it again?
I understand.
You understand what I'm saying, eh?
Yes, my brother.
You want me to say to make it emphatically clear.
Yes, good.
It's a tournament.
Yes.
Carry on.
Yes.
Carry on.
Yes, you've made it emphatically clear, to use your words, Major.
Yeah. It does not give itself to one who tries to keep all the advantages at once. And I often thought about morality, and many perhaps consist solely in the courage of making a choice. Thank you very much.
You said it's a tournament.
Well, it's a tournament.
Major, right?
Tournament.
And we asked the question, right? Because somebody, there'll be winners and losers, right? Or there's a draw at times,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, in this context here, though, will there ever be unity? And if so, who, how, and when?
Well, boy, you see, when me, as I said, my mama always said that the longest labor have it. And it just depends on who the choice is. It depends on the choice, you know, the thing. Because I back in Antigua and you're back in Sinking. But then I seen how things work and I said, boy, I don't like things going on, buddy. Let me stay neutral then. Hold it a while. Hold it a while in a balance.
Okay.
Hold it a while in a balance. Don't be too crazy about it. Because we're dealing with people, ain't it?
Got you.
We're dealing with people. You're dealing with people. Somebody said, but you like take one Antigua and think it. I just buy they cheat out think it. They cheat out the Antigua. It just depends on the people. Is how we operate it and say we have to get together. It's a tournament. I am saying it's a tournament. I don't know who all is involved in the race right now. But it's a tournament. Okay. And we have to wait and see. How do you think about that? I mean, we always talk about it. This is my belief, eh?
Okay.
You don't know.
All right.
This is my belief. Don't laugh.
No. No, I'm not laughing at you. I'm not laughing at you. I know you're a military man, but you seem to do well in diplomacy as well.
Okay,
Okay, my brother. Thanks for your intervention. Thanks a lot, my brother.
Okay.
Let's go back to the lines and thank this caller for holding. Caller, are you there?
Yeah, Mr. Lambert, man. How you doing tonight, man?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
Yeah, pretty good. You can hear me loud and clear, right?
Yes, I'm hearing you now. My brother.
Yeah, all right, okay, yeah. I figure I'll come in early tonight, but let me get straight to it. I'm happy that you dropped that knowledge tonight, that historical context. Me personally, I'm going to keep echoing what I believe in, and I'm going to keep saying it. Our leaders don't have no integrity. They're selling out the place, and they're not representing the people who put them there. You know, I'm encouraging the persons and the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis, where they may be, to get involved in the political affairs of their own country. Especially the youngsters, man. The youngsters got to step up, man. And I'm looking for the independent minds to rally and come out and put their names on them ballots for the next election cycles. You're talking about unity tonight. That one word is what got us as a black race so in disarray. We don't have no unity, whether it may be in our own families, in our villages, in our parishes, in our islands, in our world, whatever, bro. But black people keep going through it. We don't have no unity, and that's what we need to strive. If I can't get the independent persons to come out, then, like you have been mentioning about the leader of PLP, he is a critical figure in the political arena in St. Kitts and Nevis still right now today. And Patches, yourself, I'm going to encourage you, man, to get back in the ring, bro. Get back in that ring, man. You're going to take that defeat that you got lightly. You know, wheel and come again like those Jamaicans say, man. Take another go. Take another go at it, man. Before you hang up your hat, man, take another lick at it. Take another chance, man. The people in East Bastille, the warriors in the East are looking forward to that. Yeah, you make a quick reference to the late Honorable Simeon Daniel, the founder of NRP on the Nevis side. And the NRP party of the day, they are not doing what they're supposed to do. If they want to get back on the helm in Nevis. I'm going to go straight to that report because you talk about the unfairness of the Nevis, the treatment, the bad treatment. That NRP party was formed because of that unfair treatment.
Okay.
So we forward quickly to today, that World Bank report that the Prime Minister got, and maybe he done put it underneath his bed or somewhere, hiding it. That NRP party in Nevis needs to come out and put that pressure on the Premier and let the pressure end up on the Prime Minister to release that document. It's very important that all the party heads, leaders, get hold of that document because government will be continuous no matter what. That document can now become a reference point for that fair share argument that we keep hearing. The Premier being the advocate for that, I'm not hearing enough from him right now. He needs to put the pressure on the Prime Minister to get that document released to the public domain. Patches, I'm asking you to try to get a hold of that because me, myself, I want to sift through that document, bro. I want to see it. I want to get more experience with the financial part of things.
Okay.
And the last thing I might want to say before I get off real quickly, that geothermal. You know something they call a patent, right, Patches?
Yes.
The Premier, it seems to me, he fallen back with the financial, with the projects. And he's now seeking financial help from the federal government. But that geothermal in Nevis, I hope, just like how Team Unity implode and blow up and fall apart, I hope Sinkis and Nevis don't fall out over that geothermal if it comes to reality. You know, you should know what I'm saying, man.
Yes, yes.
You know what I mean? You should know you should know where I'm pointing at.
Yes, my brother.
The Premier started asking for that help from the federal government in mid-air, but he didn't consult with the Nevis people about that shift. Because if you're putting money in a pot, Patches, if you put money into something, you're gonna want to be the owner of that something. So if that funding comes from the federal government, it don't take a rocket scientist to figure it out. The federal government will try to get more dominance and control over that geothermal in Nevis. With that clause 113 in the mix, if Nevis try to pull away from Sinkits later on, and the geothermal is in the mix, then they will end up fight over that stuff.
Okay.
And I hope these guys are really negotiating and put those concrete stuff down on that geothermal. Thanks a lot, man. I'll come back in later if I have to. Thanks.
Thank you for your intervention. Let's keep our eyes on the time, my colleagues. We go back to the line and thank this caller for holding. Call you live.
Hi, good night.
Good night, my dear.
Patches.
Hello.
Good night, Marsha here.
How are you, Marsha? I thought I recognized the voice.
Okay, good. I'm here. Patches, I have so many things to talk about tonight. Patches, for weeks, I have been following you and listening up to you, right? And I want to, before I go into what I have to say, I want to say good night to the caller, and I want to echo the same sentiment that he echoed. And I also want to tell him, keep the faith, right? But Patches, what I want to say tonight, Patches, he have some lying white collar people here saying it's, you know, mother lie, father lie, child and all a lie. And the whole of Saint Kitts talk about this lying demon in Saint Kitts. Patches, to have a lying demon from lying people here in Saint Kitts, you know, Patches. Mother lie, father lie, sister lie, child lie, everybody lie. A bunch of liars in a Patches. Let me move on, Patches.
Please.
Patches, when you play that clip, I could recall you give me goosebumps. Because Patches, I was right there. Because back then I was a labor. And I was right there when I get the call to say, come to government headquarters and come over this square with the boundary thing, the change of the boundary thing. And I was foot and foot. And Patches, would you believe some of them people who is PS and permanent secretary was building me when I was well in there in Douglas? Some of them who get big work now. When Douglas called me, I could call him, I can't tell him about it, and independence of the army camp, and he said, Marsha, you're right. some of them people who was rallying behind, who was on the borderline standing up, watching me and others. Up and down the labor plants and plants in the square and all government headquarters when he come out and make his statement. Sorry. What is they got big work now? Yesterday we went to a funeral and some of them are skin up and walk as if they smell shit. I want to know what's going on with them labor people. But patches are going to stay tonight. If I perish, let me perish. But time soon come. Time soon come. And I want to send the Prime Minister a message tonight. But you better lead without fear and favor. Lead without fear and favor. Stop letting people put things in your head. And stop victimize people. Patches when we see people are 70 years and 60 years of work in government, and when they want to send one people at 54 and 53 years. It's a burning shame on the government. Burning shame. Burning shame. And Patches, you had a man calling you from overseas. I can't remember his name. Couple Thursdays ago. I laid on me bed and I said, good are you? Patches, 2 weeks ago, your show was on fire. Okay. 2 weeks ago, your show was on fire and I applaud you for a job well done. You know what you're doing. And Patches before, but because they're going to get back in again. I must tell you, you have your trophy. You have lots of attributes. They cannot watch you. They cannot bring you down. Because when I'm driving on the old road bed this morning coming to town, I said, God bless Patches. When I drive on old road bed this morning coming to town, I said, God bless Patches. Because of you do that. You did that. And to God be the glory, great things he has done.
Thank you.
And I will call back in and listen out here to hear the rest comment. And call back in again, Patches.
Thank you very much.
Have a good night, Papa.
Have a good night as well, and always grateful for your contribution. We go back to the lines and thank this caller for holding. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Patches, good night. How are you?
I am peaceful, sir. Yourself?
Tonight. I see you're playing some serious historical political revolution.
Thank you. Getting the facts right, you know.
Right. Well, I don't know the reason why you're playing that clip. I don't know what is the motive, but you know, knowledge is good.
Which clip?
History is good. That you were playing back there, you know.
Which clip? I played
the one about the Prime Minister, the former Prime Minister, Douglas. It's some kind of this kind of stuff. But
okay.
I'm not going to get into that too much. But history is good and knowledge is good.
Yes. You have to know your history.
But I don't know what is your motive playing back that.
I want people to know their history.
But we're not going to be disagreeable. Yeah, we're not going to be disagreeable in that conversation. Yeah.
Of course not.
I want to be universal in my conversation.
Okay.
I'm not taking any side, but you got your reason why you're playing it back, because you was a friend of the former Prime Minister, Douglas. So
we are friends.
I guess
we're still friends.
You know, but Patches,
unless he tells you otherwise, okay. we are friends.
Still friends. Okay.
Yes, man, cool me.
Well, I mean, it's a serious clip that you're playing back because you're giving people an inclination that he's, guilty of something, but
Well, talk for yourself.
That's your.
Talk for yourself, my brother. You can't say what people.
That is your okay. But I'm talking for myself. I'm just analyzing.
Okay, so
I'm just analyzing and relating and right.
You know something that we don't know, but I'm sorry to interrupt you. Sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. But that's not the first time you played a clip. But anyhow, I want to move on. I want to move on to the political scheme of things,
Uh-huh.
You talk about that there would ever be unity again. Life of changes and life of growth and, maybe it can be, because we are human beings.
I'm asking the question. What do you think?
It's possible. It's possible, okay. But who are they?
Okay. Well,
we have to see these people come to reality.
Okay.
Because right now the three parties in a taboo. Mark is not going to unite with Pam again. Mark is not going to unite with Unity. Labour is not going to unite with Unity. Labour is not going to unite with PAM. So we have to have a next generation to create that environment again. I just simply want to say, I admire Douglas for his revolutionary political stand that he took in the past to get the country where it is today. You know, he created an environment as debt, you know, to build the country. And that was not a wrong move because the country was really, really back. Housing, you know, education for the young men, them, all that was way behind. And he revolutionized the country to bring these things forward. Look at the country today. It is a paradise. Someone had a conversation today and talking about the, you know, the economical, you know, development of the country and saying it is way up there. The poverty rate is not all that bad. We and Bermuda and all those countries there and Curacao and all these countries there and Bahamas and all, we stand good. We are not in the poverty line. And that was a professional person speaking who have a degree in economics. That even under Dr. Drew right now, even though he has some weaknesses amongst himself, the economy still stands strong. So I admire Mark. I ain't going to stay too long. I admire Mark also for the revolution that he created around Douglas. He fought Douglas hard. It was his downfall. He ended up turning around and create a revolution against Unity. And Mark was their downfall. So Mark is a hell of a man within himself in a small island. And I admire him for that. He's a knowledgeable person. And he knows how to fight a political revolution warfare. And Douglas has done the same. But in reality, sometimes all what you have to do at this moment is give Mark what he wants. And then they would get government of labor. Because Unity don't have anybody. PAM don't have anybody. They're already destroyed. They're already weak. Unity don't have any young men to run this country anymore. So Judas have to do his work properly and pick himself up and do what is right to the people of the country. Because the country is in a good foot, Patrick. I was there. It's in a good foot. I can see prosperity. I can see happiness in the people, even though
my brother.
Even though the struggle is hard. Okay, Patrick.
I got you. I got you. Give me some time, you know. So I have some callers waiting. But thanks, as usual, for your contributions. I'll give you 5 seconds since I just chop you so abruptly. I have 5 seconds I can give you.
Okay, Patrick, I appreciate it. But Patrick, what I want to say, you were part of us. You were part of us under Douglas administration. 2015, you were part of us. And the government really is on a good stand.
Which government?
They have their struggle. They have their struggle.
Okay.
They just have to get the water system together. It's very poor in that. And they don't like that.
Okay, I got you, my brother. Thank you for your contribution.
Okay. Patrick. Thank you.
I can only say to you, though, right, that many would disagree with you because there's a saying, who feels it knows it. So those who are here would say the entire opposite. I mentioned the political strategists earlier tonight, and I failed to mention Juicy Byron, who was very critical as well as it relates to the particular unity strategy that was used. Caller, you live. Hello, caller. Are you there, caller?
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Patrice. Good night. Good night, one and all. Good night to all listeners. Good night to the intelligent minds. But common sense is most warranted. Is understanding. Now, Patrice, I missed the thesis tonight, and I missed most of the commentary that you made. But if I may say, I will follow on all the callers that called in already. And I am not going to lament on battering any misfits because they are misfits. That's a true fact. and recycled politicians. Our country need to listen. Our country need to remember. And remember going back into the past. And we're going to track to an abstract of each leaders of the country and party and see how they were governed and what do you extract from that. They are disagreeable. There are misunderstanding. There are mispromises. And promises are comfort for fools. And I will condemn all of them. Because if you need stability in a country, in my view, you need to take care of the people, whether they vote for you or not. People are people, and people will always be people. People are not any animal in we are in the animal kingdom, but we are supreme to the animals on planet Earth. And what is hard if there are disasters, mispromises? Are you going to continue feed that? You got to get on board with the new dynamic, intelligent mind that is trying. All these leaders that are there and were there, they started out as novice and they get experience while they are prolong their tenure. So all the independents, and I hope there are independents, I'm the only independent who are announced worldwide that I am a candidate and shall be a candidate for this new election. Who win, and when who win, live with them. Okay. Whether he's good or bad.
Okay.
Last but not least, I need a leader that will be empathetic, sympathetic to the people and not suppress, depress, and muzzle. Freedom. Okay. Freedom, but we all have to respect one another.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you very much as well. We go back to the lines and thank this caller for holding. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Yeah, greetings, Patches.
Greetings, my brother.
Yeah, Rascalungi, you're right up my alley. Could we ever unite? And you forget to play one of the clips, Every Prince.
You know, that is so true.
You just see what all what you played? Every Prince should have been the last clip.
I keep forgetting that.
You see what I'm saying? Because what I'm saying is that every Prince clip now crystallize everything.
Yes, you're right.
You understand?
Yes.
Yeah, because what I'm saying to you, we got adult suffrage in 1952, right? True. And I don't know if you're familiar with this, but what Granny said, love one another. What Granny said, respect one another. What Granny said, one people, one aim, one destiny. Because my argument is that what is driving this thing now is the geopolitical situation that we are facing. And here is, by this apprenticeship, the colonial office was making sure that the education of local politicians was completed along British lines and that they would look to Westminster as their model. This would ensure that Britain's influence in the colonies would continue long after the inevitable loosening of imperial ties. Now hear what His Majesty said now. We must be ever mindful that our greatest weapon is the oneness which we see as Africans. But it is not enough to be Africans. That which pulls us apart and divides us must be resisted with all our strength. That which unites us must be pursued relentlessly and inexorably. Right? So, this being Black History Month, Tata G. Woods is the one who created Black History Month, right? And he wrote a book. One of his books was The Miseducation of the Negro. And here's a quote from it. When you control a man's thinking, you do not have to worry about his actions. You do not have to tell him not to stand here or go yonder. He will find his proper place and will stay in it. You do not need to send him to the back door. He will go without being told. In fact, if there is no back door, he will cut one for his special benefit. His education makes it necessary. The point I'm making, that these colonials educate us in their culture. That's why we are so divided as a people. So I'm saying to you now, that we are calling, right, the African consciousness movement, we are calling for us to atone and repent for our political sins.
Okay.
And by doing that, right, we invoke the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. And the main one is unity, umoja, to strive for and maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race. Umoja means staying together. And the other one, which is Tuesday, that was Monday, Kujichagali, self-determination.
Okay.
To define ourselves. I'm coming. Yep. Name ourselves, create for ourselves, and speak for ourselves, instead of being defined, named, created for, and spoken for by others. Kujichagali is saying who we are and who we will be, and not letting others say for us. So I'm saying, now, Brother Patches, it's time for us to repent. Okay. We are calling for, we are, just a little time, we are calling for a national consciousness. And we are launching the African consciousness movement. We are launching the movement for national unity. And we are saying what Granny said. If you don't want to unite on the 7 principles of Kwanzaa, then you're against us. It's as simple as that. There ain't no in between.
Okay, my brother. Got you.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So that is the line. And what I'm saying to you now, leadership is not an individual. Leadership is the line. What we want is unity. African unity, black empowerment. If you're not saying that, then you're against us. Because hear this. We have a solution. I'm coming. The Sahel states, Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, they have united as one. And we are saying that is the model for us. Revolutionary pan-Africanism. And if you're not saying that, you're against us. We're going to say love one another. We're going to say respect one another. We're going to say self-determination. We're going to say one people, one aim, one destiny. We're going to say reparation by any means necessary. Give thanks. That is what we got to be striving for, to achieve this unity that we need. Give thanks, Brother Padgett. Thanks for the time.
Give thanks as well for your contribution, my brother. And we go straight back to the lines. I'll call you live.
Mr. Patches, greetings.
Greetings, my brother. How about that?
And how are you?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
I'm very good myself. Humanity by nature is gifted to think freely. But in order that this free thought should lead him to the goal of liberty and independence, his way of thinking must be shaped by the process of education. Your thesis, will there be ever unity? Mr. Patches, we shouldn't have no doubt about that. Why? We say we are a Christian society. And for we accept the fact that we are a Christian society, Christ said, the words of the Bible say, we must walk in the footsteps of Christ. And those are the messages of Christ. Unity. We cannot say that unity is not something that wouldn't work. Because that's the message that God wants his people to strive in. So we cannot say unity cannot work. We see it can work. But is man to change the ways? Because some of us feel also, because we hear unity, we won't got problems, we won't got, but there would be problems. But it's the maturity of persons who keep a unity base together. Look at, you play some good
tapes tonight, and I'm glad to see the video of Washi Archibald, one of the most outstanding citizens in this country. What you talk about the NRP-PAM relationship, Mr. Daniels talk about maltreatment that he gets from his associates. But Brantley, when Brantley was within Unity, he didn't talk about no maltreatment. He talked about the good that was getting to Nevis. The problem is Brantley should have some more management in what he was getting from the federal government, that the whole world can see what it was. So all in all, Mr. Patches, you know, many are the educated guys in this country who sometimes criticize Unity. Even though Unity take the country from IMF hand, they don't even put no good comment towards that. And I feel some of the educated ones in this country, they really low thinkers to see the country stay within the masses, you know. They're more would love to see what they can get out of the country. Because if they would say that to see well the country more stay in the hands of the masses, they would really talk more about the policies that should be very enriching the people. So I feel totally strong, because if we ain't going to strive for unity, we're going to put ourselves within party ideology. And party ideology is divisiveness. So all in all, Mr. Patches, no matter what we may say, we got to strive for unity and find a mature way to get ourselves united. Because the Bible says to all of us, ye must be born again. And if we say we are involved in democracy, we have to strive for unity. Take care, Mr. Patches, and thanks.
Thank you very much, my dear brother. As we say, well said. Well said. My brother, it's 15 before the 10 o'clock hour, as we are on the downhill side of Straight Talk. And I mentioned earlier that the 7 years of Team Unity is the years of plenty food, as the good book says. So 7 years there will be plenty food in Egypt. But then there will be 7 years of hunger. So perhaps what we see now is really biblical. I haven't forgotten my emails. I want to intermingle or intersperse, if that's the right term, or do my email simultaneously. First one reads, good night or good evening, Patches. Your question of who, how, and when is easily answered. One of the who has to be Ian Patches Liburd. As to how, I think you should run as an independent. As to when, you should run in the next elections. Very interesting email. Good night, Patches reads this other email. Please allow me to make a few comments on your great and informative show. To make some prophecies in regards to your thought-provoking thesis. Will there be unity? Who, how, and when? Patches, given the fact that there will be electoral boundary changes, where St. Kitts will then have 9 seats and Nevis will have 4 seats. The total seats 13. I'm hereby prophesying the results in each constituency for the 2027 or sooner general elections. I don't think we can have 9-4 though, because I think the Constitution speaks, not I think, I know, the Constitution speaks to 1/3 for Nevis. So 4 can't be 1/3 of 13. If my math is correct. But I'll read the email. Constituency number 1, St. Kitts Palm will succeed. Constituency number 2, St. Kitts Palm will succeed. Constituency number 3, St. Kitts Labour will succeed. Constituency number 4, St. Kitts Palm will succeed. Constituency number 5, St. Kitts Labour will succeed. Constituency number 6, St. Kitts Labour will succeed. Constituency number 7, St. Kitts PLP will succeed. Constituency number 8, St. Kitts Labour will succeed. Constituency number 9, St. Kitts PAM will succeed. Constituency number 10, Nevis CCM will succeed. Constituency number 11, Nevis CCM will succeed. Constituency number 12, Nevis CCM will succeed. And constituency number 13, Nevis CCM will succeed. And I think, as I said, this is flawed because Nevis must have 1/3 of the seats. But the results, according to this email, will be 4 seats for Labour, 4 for PAM, 4 for CCM, and 1 for PLP. In this case, Patches, the CCM will definitely be the deal maker, who will form the coalition government with either Labour or PAM. Or you may very well see a coalition with Labour, CCM, and PAM, thus throwing Dr. Harris and PLP into political oblivion. Patches, you need to know what Mark Brantley's heart and soul is. Mark Brantley's heart and soul is still with PAM, but depends on how good Drew treats Nevis now, and leading up to the next election, that Mark may give Drew the nod in the affirmative. Patches, what is happening behind the scenes right now in St. Kitts is that Dr. Harris's popularity is waning at breakneck speed, and as such, this is causing groundswell of support for PAM, as there is presently a major deflection of PLP supporters over to PAM. So Patches, for the 2027 general elections, there will be unity between Labour joining with CCM or PAM joining with CCM, or all 3 together. Reads this email, a very interesting perspective. Good night, Patches. As each February is dubbed Black History Month, just take a little time out to celebrate the young professionals in our midst who continue to shine and make waves in this our proud and progressive nation. Patches, in the interest of time, please allow me to single out 3 talented young professionals whose work and talent stands as a testament to the bright future that this country of St. Kitts and Nevis holds. First, I wish to commend the talent of Miss Carissa Roberts, the young and brilliant architect whose design of the Black Rock Lockout edifice continues to shine and inspire the myriad of visitors to that location as they stand in awe beholding this great masterpiece and its sheer magnificence. Its design and construction, beg your pardon. Secondly, I wish to commend Miss Trevelyn Stapleton, clerk of our National Assembly, who was appointed clerk in 2022. Patches, her brilliance, maturity, and competence in the execution of her duties is unmatched, and she will go down in the annals of our history as the best clerk of our assembly has ever had. The clerk our assembly has ever had. This young lady is truly a pearl of great price, as her professionalism truly epitomized knowledge of her assigned task, as she continued to deliver world-class service in the guidance and operation of our National Assembly. Miss Stapleton's leadership is a testimony that our nation is sitting on a solid foundation, and one built on shifting sand, but one not built, beg your pardon, on shifting sand, but one built on pure granite. Thirdly, Patches, I wish to commend Mr. Cartel Ford, a young man who was given the task to manage Panorama for our carnival since 2022. Patches, prior to Mr. Ford's assignment to manage Panorama was dead and resting in the grave, just like Lazarus of the Bible. Mr. Ford, under the guidance of Miss Shannon Harley, visited the grave of Panorama and did the impossible. Patches, when he resurrected Panorama by shouting, "Panorama, come forth." And Panorama obeyed and came forth after being bound for years in the grave clothes, and he loosed and invigorated Panorama to new life, never before seen in the history of our carnival, thus making it the number one event on our carnival calendar. I therefore recommend that each of these illustrious youths receive a national honor for their sterling contribution to national development. Reads that email. Excuse me. This email reads, "Good night, Patches. For this Black History Month, kindly allow me to put forth some irrefutable facts." Wow, I must forgive this call. I had you on hold and I ignored the call. I did not do that deliberately. I'm sorry about that. But you can call right back now. I'll get you right in. I'm really, really sorry about that caller. I had you on hold forever. No offense. That's an oversight. Some irrefutable facts reads this email that seems to be conveniently overlooked or ignored. Patches, I have listened leaders trying to convince us that we are Africa's prodigal sons and daughters and we should reunite as with our motherland. Let's go back to the lines. The caller seemed to come back. I'll pause that email for a while. This may have been the caller I had holding for some time, and I'm awfully sorry about that.
Yes, it's me.
That was you? I'm so sorry.
Good night.
And it's you. Oh,
yes, it's me. I hold on you for so long. I say, no.
I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. That's my oversight. I'm so sorry.
Okay. Yes. Patches? You could hear me, Patches?
Yes, you're loud and clear. The world is listening to you. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You just read an email just now.
Mm-hmm.
You just read an email reply.
Mm-hmm.
High and crack. The high and crack is the email you see.
What do you mean about the constituencies?
Yes, and who going to get four, who going to get one, who going to get four. High and crack.
Truth be told, I'm privy to a survey that was done, and some people may not like to hear this, but it is fact that the most favorable leader in the country at present is Timothy Sylvester Harris.
Oh yes, and he will always remain.
Not even Jew is featured in that poll as a leader.
And he will always remain.
Yes.
The both favorite. In thinking, whether he love it, he stand up, he gonna remain it. So they just smoke that in the pipe. You have a caller, they just calling from St. Thomas. And you see to me, a certain time, he ban in and next time, he ban and land. That's how I see. He look up here and he going to tell you, you must not play back the long-term plate them what you are accustomed to play. Why are he not want them to play back? Are something going to be in there who hides for him? He have a problem with you playing them back. So continue to play them. Let he get upset. And so, this government, there was what we say we have. King lawyer gone outsmart state lawyer. Until we get the read of them kind of people out of government, we ain't gonna see no way at all coming in this country here. We have to get rid of them because it's two peas in a pot. None better than none. One lawyer and two lawyers. So we have to get rid of them there if we want to see progress in the country. Law cannot stand. When you see law, a country will fall. And that is what happening to us right now.
too much lying.
Okay.
But you have and them people up there, they need to turn around and really hard and what's not. Some of them talk, like nobody hear them talk. They need to watch up the man because the man just watch them up when he ready. So they need to watch him up and fight. They need to come out and strong.
Okay.
And so they will need to get rid of that snake, that lawyer, bad mind, this snake. He could abuse people, but nobody could abuse him. You're offended by that. You have a pleasant good evening, Patty.
Have a pleasant evening as well. I treat the family. Wow, I'm sorry, caller. I disconnected you in error. Forgive me. Are you there? Yes, caller, you're live. Hello, caller. Yes, you're live.
Hi. Hello, Patches.
Yes, you're live, my dear. Is that
Yes, Megan. Tell me something. Like other thing for me, please. Tell me something, Patches. I was wondering, that boat were coming from with those dead bodies. I haven't heard nothing about it. I want to know what's going on because that sounds strange to me. So I want you to follow up on it to me, please, for next week, Monday.
Okay.
And also to talk Togo. I'm not hearing Mr. Welcome from overseas. Mr. Welcome, if you're hearing me, you was batting good for the past 2 weeks. And I'm listening to you. I want to hear you some more. Mr. Welcome. Patches and on your thesis tonight, I want to touch base on your thesis. I am saying that on your thesis for tonight, what I'm saying, what I want to say on that, they must have a team unity. I want PAM and PLP to go back, talk things over, rearrange, and come back to take it to Nevis with something stronger and better for us, and then they will go back to the drawing board because next election, next year, 2026, because I know election is 2026, not 2027, it's 2027, but he's going to call it 2026. And what I want, PAM and PLP to start putting out your candidates, all of your candidates. This afternoon, Patches, I want to go because I want to skip. Patches.
Yes, you're live.
Okay, yes, Patches. I want PAM and PLP to put out all the candidates. I had the opportunity to talk to Mr. Richards on Sunday by the sports day about a few things what I would like to see. And he totally agreed with me. What I am saying, I want Dr. Harris, my good friend, Sean Richards, my neighbor, my friend too, I want them to work out the differences. And, because it will be better for the Federation. Patish, don't worry about nobody say, well, it can't happen. It will happen because that is the will of God. Together we stand, divided we fall. And we have to have one togetherness in one accord to get out the government. So that is my 2 pence for tonight. And Patish, I want to tell you, hold the fort. Keep on doing what you are doing because you are doing something good. Continue. You're an educated man. You uphold the law without fear of favor. You dig into your files and you have your facts. You're not giving us no fiction on the radio. It's pure facts and the truth. So I want you to continue going into the archive and get your facts and come back Monday and Thursday and jam them. Because they are listening, All of them are listening. Every Thursday night and Monday night, they sit down in the house and they listen you. They listen to this talk show. So get your facts. And some of them are trembling in the shoes because you have your facts. So continue practice what you are doing.
Okay, thank you.
And keep up the good work. Mr. Malcolm, I'm waiting to hear from you tonight too. Okay, thanks, Martin. Have a good night.
Have a good night as well. We go back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
What is something wrong with it? Me hearing it and me moving stick. So something wrong with it. Me hearing you.
Something wrong with what?
You tape. You when you're speaking, me you on top of me right now here. So he's sticking.
Okay, thanks a lot. We'll see what we can do with that. Thank you. If it's your issues, but we are here. But for Black History Month, I was reading this particular email. This particular email, and this email is saying, I have listened leaders trying to convince us that we are Africa's prodigal sons and daughters, and we should reunite with our motherland. Patches, lest we forget our foreparents did not voluntarily left Africa for the Caribbean or the Americas, as the prodigal son did. On the contrary, Patches, our foreparents were hunted down like wild animals by their own Africans. They were shackled, blindfolded, beaten savagely, and sold to the Arabs, the European and British amongst others, as slaves by their own Africans. Now, these leaders are only demanding of the King of England and the Europeans who were buyers of slaves to apologize and make reparations for the part they played in the perpetuation of the slave trade. Patches, these same leaders need to take off their blindfold and not only ask the buyers and owners of slaves for an apology or reparations, but in the same breath and with the same vigor also demand of the leaders of the various African continents to apologize and make reparations to us, the descendants of slaves, for the grave injustice meted out to our foreparents, and when they rounded them up like pigs and goats. They shackled them, sold them, and caused them to be thrown into a dungeon, when they had to endure the middle passage, still shackled in the bottom of ships, and drowning in each other's faces with accountability. We need justice from all players involved. Our own Africans caused us to lose our birthright and true identity. It took a white man, William Wilberforce, a British, to fight to end slavery, and succeeded to abolish the slave trade with the passing of the Slave Trade Act in England in 1807. In 1833, the Slavery Abolition Act came into effect. Africa is complicit as the buyers and owners of slaves, and they are just like Cain who killed his brother Abel. A laborer is always worse than the thief, reads this email. How much longer will we allow the Jew administration to play games with the people? They claim to support marijuana reform, yet they have no problem jailing a man for carrying 6.9 grams, an amount that is perfectly legal for personal use in St. Kitts and Nevis. If Damien Liburd had bought that same weed here, he would be free. But because it came from Miami, he was charged as a drug smuggler. Does this make sense to you? Meanwhile, Attorney General Garth Wilkin, the man responsible for upholding the law, openly admitted to breaking it by failing to pay his Social Security contributions. Has he been charged? He has not been fined. Has he faced any consequences? If a young man can be prosecuted for a few grams of weed, why is a government minister allowed to walk free after failing in his legal obligation? Why is this government so quick to punish the powerless while protecting the privileged? Is the law only for the small man? How much longer will we allow Dr. Drew and his administration to trample on fairness and justice? If the law applies to Liburd, why doesn't it apply to Wilkin? Or are there two sets of laws in the country, one for them and one for us? Patches, will you raise these questions, or will the Drew administration sense the conversation? The people must demand answers, reads this email. Patches, why Dr. Jew did Labby so bad? Labby come all the way from America, come home to contribute to July, and he ain't even look at Labby and give her a position. You give all kind of dunce jobs. Labby is a woman who went all out for Jew. How can you have Talbot's sister working for you cooking Hazel Jeffers? For you cooking Hazel Jeffers and all kind of people around. You go down government headquarters, spanners at the front desk, fast asleep. The other one don't know how to talk to people. July polishing up his wife's mother and now even give her his own mother no big up boy. Patches, what a man, reads this email. Dear Patches, the people of New Road must have thought their suffering was finally over when they saw road crews arrive. After months of dodging potholes, big enough to swallow tires, the government was finally fixing the road. But hope quickly turned to disbelief when they realized what was happening. Dr. Jew's cash-strapped administration was filling their potholes with discarded asphalt from another road. At first glance, it almost looked like an improvement. The once gaping holes were now covered with a rough, blackened crust, a makeshift bandage over an old wound. But nature had its own sense of humor. The very first rainstorm washed it all away, as if the road itself rejected the government's half-hearted efforts. The potholes returned as deep and defiant as ever, laughing at the mockery of a repair job. The potholes were so grateful for their temporary covering that they eagerly returned as soon as the rain fell, swallowing the recycled asphalt like a hungry beast. Perhaps next time, Dr. Joe will consider using sand. It would have lasted just as long, but at least wouldn't have turned the area into a dust bowl. Ironically, the rain did bring one blessing. It stopped the dust storm that had turned New Road into a grifty wasteland. Residents could finally breathe again, even if they still had to maneuver around the same treacherous craters. Is this what progress looks like under cash-strapped government? Is this the better way they promise? Or is it just another insult to the people who deserve real roads, not roadside experiments? Caller, you're live. Hello, caller? Are you there, caller?
That is.
Yes, my lord.
Why I thought you got, I said I wake up again, you know. So I was listening to everybody here.
Uh-huh.
But the question I want to ask you, what is the secret of staying young?
What's the secret of staying young?
What is the secret of staying young?
What's your secret? Tell us, tell the world.
Yeah?
What is your secret?
My secret is all the things. My secret is all the things that you don't want, you know, and you must live. One of the secrets is staying young. One of the secrets is staying young, especially, is always to do things you don't have to know. You don't know what you don't know. One of the things that you don't know, but how to do it to bring learning, to keep learning. You have to keep learning. If you want to stay young, you got to keep learning, isn't it? What do you think?
Of course, I mean.
Yeah, that is why we keep it young, because we always want eager to learn. You agree with that?
Well, I mean, there's no single secret, you know. There's no single secret of staying young, you know. You try to be healthy, eat well, eat a balanced diet, you know, and get enough sleep. And with all the stress around, we try to manage the stress, my brother, and stay mentally active. That's what keeps me young, staying mentally active. Try that, Major.
But all right. I agree with you to a certain point, but what I am saying, you always have to do the things you don't know. You always have to do the things you don't know.
Okay.
And because you don't know, you have to keep on learning.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, you don't know. You agree?
Well, I'm a strong proponent of what we call CPD, continuing professional development. So, as we live, we learn.
Yeah, of course. That's what I'm saying. So that is you have to keep young. You see, your faculties have to be always thinking, because if you sit there and worry of yourself, well, boy, it looks like I getting old now, I can't think. What do you think? That can't good. You got to get up and see something to learn, something to know, something to read, something to do. Look what you're doing. What you're doing now. Are you sure that is when you do what you're doing? You look forward every Monday and Thursday to do things, because you're able to get your brain tease up. You tease your brain.
Okay.
And do a lot of thinking. So if you ain't got nothing to worry about getting old.
Okay, Major. Thanks a lot for your intervention. Hello, Patches reads this email. I'm responding to the DPP's lame excuse and incompetence of him or the police. What nonsense are they giving us about the doctor's death? The vehicle is registered to someone and they will not know who was operating the vehicle. If they don't want to give you no answer, then charge the owner with involuntary manslaughter, and the family should sue the owner and insurance company for liability. And you will see how quickly we will get answers with this email. Dear Patches, Dr. Drew must think the people of St. Kitts and Nevis suffer from amnesia. At his roundtable interview, he claimed that he warned Pam against Dr. Harris, as if he was some wise and benevolent statesman looking out for their best interests. Who does he think he's fooling? Let's get the facts straight. PAM, PLP, and CCM were part of the Team Unity government, while Dr. Drew and his Labour Party sat in opposition, plotting, scheming, and attacking Team Unity at every turn. Drew never had anything good to say about Team Unity when they were in power. So why is he now pretending to have been Pam's guardian angel? This is nothing more than a classic divide and rule tactic. Drew sees the opposition gaining strength, so he's throwing out distractions to weaken them. He doesn't care about PAM, PLP, or CCM. His only goal is to eliminate all challenges so he can run the country unchecked. But if Drew was such a great political prophet, where was his so-called warning when Labour spent years viciously opposing Team Unity? Where was his concern for PAM when his party was calling for their downfall? Drew was never on PAM's side. He is simply using them now to serve his own desperate agenda. Instead of trying to rewrite history, Drew should focus on the real issues. Why is his government broke? Why has economic progress stalled? Why is crime on the rise under his watch? Why has his government been unable to deliver any major projects? The people see through this nonsense. Dr. Drew is not some wise leader. He is a scared politician scrambling to hold on to power. His attempt to divide the opposition is nothing but a sign of weakness, and weak leaders don't last long. I think this is my final email. Let's hope it. Oh, wow. I still have quite a few emails. Why Dr. Harris and the PLP? Imagine the luxury of Dr. Drew's 40% salary hike, while you hear the constant struggle of people complaining about rising prices. You see his Bradshaw building a ghost of empty concrete, standing as a stark reminder of $40 million wasted, a building that should have been buzzing with life and jobs. But instead it sits dead in the street, untouched, while the money that could have built it disappears into thin air. You can also hear the public's whispers, where did the money go? Now picture the days under Dr. Harris, roads being paved, schools being built, and people working with pride. The air felt fresher, the mood lighter. There was growth, not stagnation. Under Harris, we didn't hear about family members secretly collecting government paychecks. We saw progress. Dr. Harris and the PLP gave us stability, jobs, and the kind of leadership that sounded and felt like it was for the people. It's time to restore that feeling. Time for Harris to lead us out of this mess. Harris again reads this other email. I'm I'll read all my emails, I promised before I go. Good night, Patches. One of your regular callers reminds me so much of PM Drew, always so repetitious. Said a lot, but still ain't say nothing. I believe he's from Nevis. Oh my, please. Good evening, Ambassador. I listened to your preamble tonight, and it's my opinion that a coalition will never work in St. Kitts. Unity had one of the best coalitions, and it only worked for 7 years. Any political party in St. Kitts that wants to form the next government will have to get at least 6 seats. One love. Reads this email. And this other email reads, Good night, Patches. How is culture? Have not heard from him for a while. Hope he is doing okay. Yes, we hope the same as well. Patches, your show is growing in popularity, no matter the naysayers. Your callers include advisor, Professor Major and Pastor Ras Ibal, and the historian Ras Kalonji. With this email. Patches, news made the rounds yesterday that the lawyer was arrested and charged for perverting the course of justice. It is my understanding that another lawyer was arrested today with the same charge. I do not support anyone, whether lawyer or otherwise, to be involved with any underhand dealings with the court process. But what bothers me is that how is it that the Bird Rock businessman has not been arrested for the same offense? Are some people immune to the law? What kind of DPP do we hear or do we have? Is he being controlled by the politicians in power? He certainly is not impartial in his duties. And this, yes, will be my final email, Patches. You powerful man, you got them trembling in their shoes, not shaking in their boots. This can be slogan for next election. Patches, what you say? Take this to Tim, reads that email. And my Straight Talk family, my time is done, believe it or not. I just want to dispense of the email. But I also, in closing, must make mention, as I said, of the propaganda. And some people have requested that I replay this particular soundbite from a video from Elder Washi. Elder Washi endorsed Timothy Harris some years ago in Tabernacle when PLP was launched at this very big meeting in Tabernacle.
Now, when Timothy got into office, years ago, he and Douglas clashed many times. It's a long time now, Douglas don't like him. You know why he and Douglas clash? He and Douglas clash because Douglas said he wants everything for his constituency. Douglas, but wait. Douglas admitted that Timothy, the representative of the constituency, was trying to do as much as he could for his people. What was wrong with that? Timothy was the minister of housing. He was the minister of land. When Douglas see how the good things that Timothy is doing, he take away the ministry from him. Timothy, just look how David became more popular than Saul. Timothy is more popular. Right now, Timothy is the most popular man in St. Kitts. So the people love Timothy. You think Douglas could do anything to drive a wedge between you and Timothy? Never happen. Never happen. And Douglas is so stupid. You got a popular man who you don't like. Instead of trying to get on with him, Douglas turn him away. Douglas turn him away, make him more popular. Because who never used to like him, sorry for him. They could see the injustice. And that is the reason why this mammoth crowd is in Tabernacle tonight cheering on Dr.
And my Straight Talk family, I made mention of the propaganda peddled just recently by the snake Mark Brantley.
There was something called the Charleston Accord that all the political parties involved signed, PAM, PLP, and CCM. What happens is the Charleston Accord was used to catapult Timothy Harris into Prime Minister's chair with only one seat.
Well, if I didn't know him, I would say he was on crack. Because how could Mark Brantley forget this, my Straight Talk family?
Fellow citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis, earlier today, the Parliament of St. Kitts and Nevis, the National Assembly, met in emergency session to debate the draft proclamation that was laid before it pursuant to the provisions of subsection 3 or subsection 5 of section 50 of the Constitution of St. Kitts and Nevis. That draft proclamation was approved by a resolution of the National Assembly today, Friday, the 16th day of January 2015. Subsequently, the draft proclamation with accompanying resolution was submitted to His Excellency the Governor General, and a proclamation in terms of the unamended draft was eventually gazetted today, the 16th day of January 2015. As a result of all that, I hereby now announce that I have advised His Excellency, the Governor General, to dissolve the Parliament. To dissolve the Parliament, the National Assembly of St. Kitts and Nevis, effective today, the 16th day of January, to give effect to the proclamation which has realigned the constituency boundaries of St. Christopher, St. Kitts and Nevis. I further announce that the date of the general elections for the Parliament or National Assembly of St. Kitts and Nevis will be announced later. God bless you. Thank you.
My Straight Talk family, the rest is history. Caller, I'm going to give you 10 seconds. I'm out of time.
Thank you, Patrice. You know I'm a patient guy.
Yes, that's all I can feel.
I must respond back. There was a caller who requested that she would like to hear from me.
Okay.
I would like to say, caller, I'm on your side. Humble servant, I'm on your side. Humble servant. I am searching and seeking the quality of life for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Okay.
And it shall be done. Thank you for that time, Patrick.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm happy I took the call. So, yes, my Street Dog family. So I was saying, don't mind the distortions, the propaganda peddled by the snake Mark Brantley. Because Team Unity could not have been if Timothy Harris, or could not have won if Timothy Harris was not the leader. And how can one forget his Esther moment in Parliament? History will record his courageous act in Parliament that required putting in his own political life in jeopardy. Timothy dared the leader to stand up in Parliament on behalf of the people, knowing that his political death penalty awaited as he dared to challenge Daniel Douglas. This was his Esther moment. We'll never forget.
Somebody must be brave enough to speak that basic truth and say, as one brave person said, if I perish in speaking truth to power, I perish! I perish, man. But truth must be spoken. Truth must be spoken. And that is what we are attempting to do, Mr. Speaker. That is what it is, Mr. Speaker.
Many have asked my Street Dog family, in conclusion, how can we be assured that the same thing won't happen again with a unity coalition or with a coalition? But for future coalitions to succeed, I submit that political leaders must work to rebuild trust they lost with voters. And this requires clear messaging on the coalition's goals, transparency in decision making, and a commitment to addressing the concerns of the electorate. Only through sustained efforts to show voters that past mistakes will not be repeated can unity-based coalitions hope to succeed in the long term. And I close by saying that Straight Talk can confirm that we have seen data that suggests that one leader, to wit Timothy Harris, has the highest favorable rating, which is twice that of Terence Michael July and others. With my Straight Talk family, I can conclude only this way: that the leadership of Timothy Harris was pivotal in the early success of Team Unity, particularly his faith-based approach and moral clarity. His failure to maintain internal unity within the coalition once in power can be seen as a critical flaw. The lesson here is that strong, transparent, and consistent leadership is key to sustaining any political alliances. Mistakes were made, but we are all human. Our leaders must be able to manage differing views, resolve conflicts, and prioritize the coalition's goals over personal or partisan interests. And Timothy Sylvester Harris did that for 7 years. I saw 5 of those years close up. But the question, having reflected on all the things you said tonight, that led me, or what led me to the question, I should say, I trust that we have all answered. Will there ever be unity? Who, how, and when? And that's my story tonight, my Street Dog family, and I'm not going to change it. I must thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight. And as always, I thank you, the many callers. Thank you, the many listeners. Thank you, the emailers. Just remember, you are the ones who make Straight Talk. And for that reason, I say a big, big thank you. Have yourselves a wonderful weekend. Go to church. I'm going to church Sunday, God spare. Do your chores. But remember that whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. But first of all, you've got to believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Street Dog family, keep moving on. Bye-bye. Until we connect on Monday. Have a wonderful weekend. Keep moving on.
The morning, and just to let you know, my light,
knowledge,
thanks and praises,
ignorance to diversity. That's our quotation.
Can't
forget that.
For the rest of